Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for the Sunday morning session on Science of Self-Realization. Before we begin the session, let's offer our prayers to Lord Krishna and Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandrodaya ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Nitai Gaura Mandir. Welcome everyone for the session on a new topic known as the absolute necessity of a spiritual master. So this is a very interesting topic. Actually, this is a talk given by Prabhupada glorifying his spiritual master. So Prabhupada was in Bombay in 1936 doing his business. He was still a householder. So he was doing his pharmaceutical business and visited Bombay for some work. So at that time, he happened to go to Gaudiya Math. And that occasion was that Prabhupada's spiritual master, Guru Maharaj, his appearance day was the occasion. So Prabhupada had very nicely written glorification for his spiritual master. This is something which is a practice in amongst the devotees in Hare Krishna movement, Iskcon, that during the birth anniversary of the spiritual master, they glorify the spiritual master with words of praise to the spiritual master, so that the spiritual master receives that glorification, he transfers it to Krishna. It is something which is actually very much as a practice etiquette in the Vaishnava community, Vaishnava understanding. So in that way, you can see Prabhupada's depth of understanding about the spiritual position of a spiritual master, and what is the real understanding of spiritual master's true situation is what we can understand from this whole talk of Prabhupada. So we'll be covering this topic in around 3 sessions in the next coming weeks. So today we'll begin our discussion with regard to spiritual master's absolute position. Right? Prabhupada glorifying his own spiritual master in his words. So all these discussions we are having by the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who is actually the worldwide Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement. And very mercifully has given these teachings to us for our understanding, for our purification. So as I told you, this was the occasion. It is February 1936 in Bombay. And Srila Prabhupada, who is himself a pure devotee, 3 decades later, which means 1966, Prabhupada will be traveling across the world and will become the world-renowned spiritual master of the Krishna consciousness movement, Iskcon. He glorifies his own spiritual master. And here we learn the time-honored meaning of the spiritual master, the disciple, and their relationship. This is what we're going to learn in this topic. The meaning of spiritual master, the disciple, and their relationship. Very important to know. So what is the exalted position of the Guru? It's a nice statement we sing every day in our early morning prayers. It is mentioned like this: Sakshat dharitvena samasta shastrair Uktas tatha bhavyata eva sadbihi. Kinto prabhorya priya eva tasya. Vande Guru Shri Charanara Vindam. What does it mean? It means in the revealed scriptures, it is declared that the spiritual master should be worshipped like the supreme personality of Godhead. And this injunction is obeyed by pure devotees of the Lord. So basically, Prabhupada is explaining the meaning of that important stanza of a song we just now recited. The scriptures, the revealed scriptures, it is declared that spiritual master should be worshipped like Supreme Lord. Sakshad Dharitvena Samasta Shastra. All scriptures declare that we have to worship like how we worship Krishna. And similarly, we should worship spiritual master. And this injunction of worshipping spiritual master like Krishna is obeyed by all the pure devotees of the Lord. Ukta satha bhavyata eva sadbhi. And why this is so? Further it is explained. The spiritual master is the most confidential servant of the Lord. Kinto prabhorya priya eva tasya. Thus, let us offer our respectful obeisances under the lotus feet of our spiritual master. It's a very wonderful prayer. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita also, if you carefully study, Krishna mentions about Arjuna that I am revealing this knowledge to you, Arjuna. Why? Because you are my bhakta, bhaktosi me priyo cheti rahasyam etaduttamam. I am revealing this confidential knowledge to you, Arjuna, because you are my pure devotee and you are my close friend. So this is an important aspect we have to understand, that the pure devotees, acharyas, spiritual masters, are confidential associates of Lord Krishna, confidential devotees of Lord Krishna. Just like Krishna descends as avatar in various incarnations to give us the understanding about the purpose of life, what we should be doing in this life, all these aspects in a very, very nice way. Similarly, whenever there is a necessity, the need, a spiritual master who is the representative of Krishna, associate of Krishna, they descend to again and again give us this understanding, knowledge and all the revelations. So spiritual master, Acharya, coming in the parampara, is not an ordinary person. He is a very exalted personality, as we can see from this particular discussion just now we had. He is to be worshipped as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because he is the confidential associate of Lord Krishna. Confidential associate means he is a very pure devotee of Lord Krishna who is in the spiritual world. And that personality has descended to enlighten us, to take us back to spiritual world. Just see the wonderful, the great work, great responsibility which the spiritual master is taking on his shoulders. Just to deliver us, he has come down, he has come to take us back to spiritual world. That is the point. So with this prayer, Prabhupada begins, and now further he continues. He says, further about the appearance of his spiritual master. His spiritual master's name was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura. Coincidentally, yesterday was the celebrations of appearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj. We all celebrated in the temples all across the world. So Prabhupada started his talk. He's telling, gentlemen, on behalf of the members of the Bombay branch of the Gaudiya Matha, let me welcome you all because you have so kindly joined us tonight in our congregational offerings of homage to the lotus feet of the world teacher Acharya Deva. So as I mentioned to you, that day when Prabhupada was talking this in Gaudiya Math, was the appearance day of his Guru Maharaj, of his spiritual master. So Prabhupada is welcoming everybody to join in glorifying his spiritual master. In fact, all the Gaudiya Math followers accept Saraswati Thakur Maharaj as spiritual master. So Prabhupada is calling his spiritual master as Acharya Deva. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, he is the founder of an organization by name Gaudiya Mission. It is all over India, having 64 branches. And also, he is the president Acharya of Sri Sri Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sabha. So in that way, he is holding different exalted positions. That's what Prabhupada is trying to tell us here. The founder of Gaudiya Mission and the president Acharya of Sri Sri Vishwa Vaishnava Raja Sabha. Prabhupada says, he is my eternal divine master. So again, Prabhupada is, with very, very great respect, he is making this statement. Paramahamsa Parivajaka Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. It is how the Acharyas are addressed. Paramahamsa Parivajaka Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. Paramahamsa means the very highest position of a sannyasi, top level of a sannyasi. In sannyasi also there are different grades. Right? The top level of sannyasi is called Paramahamsa. Hamsa means swan, who knows how to take out, when water and milk is mixed together, the Hamsa can separate milk from water nicely and just drink the milk. That is how the Hamsa is. Likewise, the Paramahamsas, the pure devotees, exalted personalities, they know what is the essence of this whole purpose of this life. That way, they will just take what is the essential aspect of this life and move forward and preach the same thing to everybody. Parivrajaka means he is, always wanting to travel everywhere and want to preach this message. It's like Prabhupada also did this, like following in the footsteps of his Guru Maharaj. And Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj is the sannyasa name of Prabhupada's spiritual master. And Prabhupada is telling about the birth of a spiritual master. This is referring to the year 1936 when Prabhupada was speaking. Prabhupada says 62 years ago, which means his spiritual master was born in the year 1874. So exactly 62 years before, on this auspicious day, the Acharya Deva made his appearance by the call of Thakura Bhakti Vinoda at Sri Kshetra Jagannath Dhama at Puri. Right? All of us would have visited Puri, Jagannath Puri, or at least would have seen the world famous Rath Yatra of Puri on television or internet. So Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, his spiritual master, was born at Jagannath Puri, one of the important holy dhams. So why he was born there, rather? Because his father, Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj's father, his name was Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Right? Bhakti Vinod Thakur was again an Acharya in the line of Parampara of Vaishnava, Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So he actually saw the very vulnerable condition of society with regard to degradation in the spiritual standards, and the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had deviated themselves from the path of following the strict principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that please send someone to take up this mission so that the true parampara principles can be taught again to everybody. A similar semblance we can see with regard to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance also. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, he was prayed for to be appearing as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to preach the message of Lord Krishna, to relieve the burden of the world, to see that sufferings of humanity is taken away, to see that everything situation is all taken care nicely with regard to the various problems going on. Advaita Acharya, one of the associated with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was born much before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He prayed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for appearance. Right? So similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, also seeing the very degraded condition of society, he also prayed to Lord Chaitanya for appearance of one personality who can actually relieve the sufferings of this world and preach the message of Lord Chaitanya. So that way, we can see Bhaktivedanta Thakur, who was actually in Jagannath Puri at that time. He was a district magistrate of the whole Puri district. And who is anybody who is the district magistrate in Puri is also the in charge of Jagannath Puri temple. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur, in that way, was the in charge of Jagannath temple as well as district magistrate, and he prayed to Lord Chaitanya, and that is how his son Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj was born, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj was known by name Bimala Prasad when he was born. Right? That is the history we get from our various teachings. Prabhupada is further nicely glorifying his spiritual master. He's telling, gentlemen, the offering of such an homage as has been arranged this evening to the Acharya Deva and we offer. Basically, with regard to the principle of spiritual master, Acharya, it is of universal application or universal importance. That's what Prabhupada is trying to tell us. Basically, spiritual master is not confined to any one group or one community or one society. His teachings are universal to everybody, which Prabhupada himself demonstrated and showed us. So there does not arise any question of discriminating my guru from yours or anyone else. Because Prabhupada is trying to tell us that Acharya or Guru is one. They cannot be 2 or 4 or 10. No. Acharya is one. And this discrimination between that and this and all is not proper. That's what Prabhupada is trying to tell us here. There's only one Guru who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me and all others. It's like Lord Krishna appearing in various incarnations again and again to again and again impart this understanding to the society. Whenever there is a decline in religious practices, Krishna himself comes in various incarnations. So the same Krishna coming in different ways, different forms, different times. Similarly, the acharyas who come down, they follow the same principle of what Krishna has spoken. And they preach the same message what Krishna has given. That's what it means. The personalities may appear different, but the message is the one. One message they preach. When somebody is not trying to preach this one message of Krishna, then he is not considered to be Acharya. This we have discussed in the previous sessions. Distinction between the genuine guru and fake gurus, right? Swindlers and saints we have been discussing in the last few sessions. So, an Acharya means he will not deviate even little with what has been spoken by the previous Acharyas and what has been spoken by Lord Krishna. That is the true Acharya or the true Guru. So, in one sense, Acharya is one. They may be looking like different personalities coming down at different times. The message what they give is actually one. That's the point. Prabhupada is very nicely explaining, there's only one Guru who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me and all others. So, Guru is one, he cannot be two. My Guru is different, your Guru is different, that's not the point. The Guru or Acharya Deva, as we learn from the bona fide scriptures, delivers the message of the absolute word, the transcendental abode of the personality, of the absolute personality, where everything non-differentially serves the absolute truth. Very nice statement Prabhupada is making. He says that whatever message the Acharyas give, the spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master gives, is all very sublime messages from the transcendental world, because he's descending from the spiritual world. This is how we began our session today. Right? The pure devotees are confidential associates of Lord Krishna. They know the transcendental aspects of the spiritual world. So when they descend, they give us the wonderful understanding of what is there in the spiritual world, transcendental world. Right? So in that way, the spiritual master is that via medium, transparent via medium, who is delivering us Krishna, Supreme Lord. Right? Spiritual master is trying to connect us to Krishna. That is the biggest, service which spiritual master is doing to all of us. So the spiritual master always is speaking about Krishna, speaking about transcendental abode, and is trying to make us understand what is the purpose of life, what we should be doing, what is the goal in life. All these things spiritual master repeatedly speaks, and he wants to get us back out of this material world to spiritual world. That is the whole purpose of this, Acharya. So, and spiritual world is everybody is serving Krishna. In material world, everybody is serving their senses. That's the difference. We have heard so many times, Mahajano yena gatassa pantha, statement from Mahabharata, which means traverse the trail which your previous Acharya has passed. But we have hardly tried to understand the real purport of this sloka. Right? Prabhupada is quoting one nice statement from scriptures. We are supposed to follow in the footsteps or follow the directions given by the previous Acharyas. Because all Acharyas give the same message based on time, place, circumstance. The details may be different, but the spirit and the message is one. Right? So we are supposed to follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas. We are advised that we follow in the footsteps of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are all direct disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, 6 Goswamis, and the Acharyas who are coming in the succession in the Parampara, because all of them have contributed significantly in enriching the wonderful transcendental understanding all of us have right now. Whatever Prabhupada has given us is all the contribution of the previous Acharyas coming in that Parampara, carefully passed down from one guru to other guru, and Prabhupada is presenting it in a very simplistic way for us to understand all this understanding. So in that way, we owe a great sense of gratitude to the whole succession of Acharyas. That's what it means, right? So we are supposed to understand this particular principle, that we have to traverse the trail which our previous Acharyas have passed. If we scrutinizingly study this proposition, we understand that the Mahajana is one and the royal road to transcendental world is also one. Basically, Prabhupada is trying to make the point clear again to everybody that Guru is not two, Guru is only one. Acharya is one. He follows the footsteps of the previous Acharyas. And the previous Acharya follows his previous Acharya. Like this is how it is. The message is one, right? That's what Prabhupada says. The royal road to the transcendental world is one. The Acharya's message is one. The spirit is one. Spirit of messaging is one. That's what I mean to say. So Prabhupada clarifies this by quoting from a scripture, Mundaka Upanishad. It says there, Tad Vijnanartham Sagurum Evavi Gachet Samit Pani Shrotriyam Brahma Nishtam. What does it mean? In order to learn the transcendental science, one must approach the bona fide spiritual master in disciplic succession, who is fixed in the absolute truth. It is a very important statement from the Vedic scriptures, making us understand what is the why it is necessary to approach a spiritual master and what type of spiritual master you have to approach. It is said, Tad Vijnanartham Sagurum Evavi Gachet. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master who is well versed in all the scriptures. Evavi Gachet. Gachet means you have to. You cannot simply take anybody, everybody. So, because the bona fide spiritual master is speaking from the Shastra. He's speaking from what he has heard from his guru, previous acharyas. It's called Guru Sadhu Shastra. Right? Sadhu means the previous acharyas, whatever they have spoken, he speaks the same thing, doesn't change the principles at all. So the injunction in the Upanishad is very clear that to learn the transcendental science, you have to approach a bona fide spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession and who is fixed in the absolute truth. Very important, because Brahma Nishtam, he cannot accept anybody as spiritual master who's not having proper understanding of the spiritual science. Prabhupada clarifies. Thus, it has been enjoined herewith that in order to receive the transcendental knowledge, one must approach the Guru. So, if you want to have transcendental knowledge, spiritual understanding, you have to approach a Acharya, Guru, who is coming in the Parampara. That's the point. Therefore, if the absolute truth is one, about which we think there is no difference of opinion, the Guru also cannot be two. They're just manifesting in different forms, in various time, place, circumstances, and giving the same understanding to us. So, Prabhupada is making this point, wonderful point, that Guru cannot be two, Guru is only one. The Acharya Deva for whom we have assembled tonight to offer our humble homage is not the Guru of a sectarian institution or one out of many differing exponents of the truth. Why Prabhupada is making this statement is, in the present context, we see so many so-called gurus who are self-manufactured or self-authorized, or they have just self-proclaimed gurus who have no basis of what they are talking. They just want to present their own understanding by quoting from different scriptures and trying to sell something else, or they don't have any basis of scriptures. They just speak a common sense understanding and want to capture people's attention and want to declare themselves as guru. Right? So like this, there are many, many people who are all trying to cheat others. Prabhupada very nicely explained, they're all fake gurus because they don't speak about Krishna. They just want their own glorification. They want money, or they want to have some big following. They want a lot of disciples. They have their own agenda, personal motivations to become guru. And first and foremost, they don't have any background of the previous acharyas authorizing them. Very important. They just have self-declared, they have themselves have become guru. If they ask them, what is your basis, which parampara you belong to, they don't have any basis to even tell us. That's the point. The Prabhupada says this is not the situation with Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara Acharyas. Very important principle. Because Acharyas who come in this Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, Prabhupada and his Guru Maharaj, they're all not ordinary personalities. They're all authorized personalities who are meant to give us the proper, transcendental understanding in our life. On the contrary, he is a Jagat Guru, or the Guru of all of us. The only difference is that some obey him wholeheartedly, while others do not obey him directly. It is all glorification which Prabhupada is making to his spiritual master. So he is glorifying his spiritual master as Jagat Guru, the Guru of all of us. The difference is that some accept him and some don't accept him completely. Prabhupada further explains the meaning what he has just now spoken by quoting one more verse from Bhagavatam. He says, Acharyam mam vijaniyam nava manyeta karhichit na martya buddhya asuyeta sarva deva mayo guru. The exalted position of Guru is being explained by Lord Krishna himself to his dear devotee Uddhava. Lord Krishna says, one should understand the spiritual master to be as good as I am, said the blessed Lord. Nobody should be jealous of the spiritual master or think of the spiritual master or think of him as an ordinary man, because the spiritual master is the sum total of all demigods. So, very nice statement by Lord Krishna to his dear devotee Uddhava. He says, spiritual master should be considered as my representative as good as I am. See, Krishna is himself declaring in Bhagavata. And he says, we cannot be jealous about spiritual master or envious of spiritual master because he is Krishna's representative. And one more important point Lord Krishna makes is Sarva Devo Mayo Guru. Spiritual master is the embodiment of all devatas. Just see the exalted position of Guru, Acharya. That way, Prabhupada, his spiritual master, and all the acharyas in the parampara of Gaudiya Sampradaya, they're not ordinary personalities, they're very exalted personalities. Giving them respect and honor, Krishna is very pleased. It's very important that we develop proper, gratitude, proper sense of respect towards the acharyas by understanding these various principles. That is, the acharya has been identified with God himself. That is the point. Prabhupada says, acharya is identified with God himself. He has nothing to do with the affairs of this mundane world. Because he is the confidential associate of Krishna. He has not come here to meddle with mundane matters, or like any other people, so-called gurus are only interested to, in money or followers, not like that. So it's nothing to do with the affairs of the mundane world. Mundane world is material world. He does not descend here to meddle with affairs of the temporary necessities, but to deliver the fallen conditioned souls, the souls or entities who have come here to the material world with a motive of enjoyment by the mind and the 5 organs of sense perception. So, Prabhupada is clarifying very nicely. The spiritual master, the bona fide spiritual master who descends to carry on the mission of Lord Krishna and the previous acharyas is not an ordinary person. Ordinarily, people are busy with their business, busy with their family affairs, busy with money, bank balance, property, all these things. The spiritual master is not such a person. Anybody who is actually a bona fide or genuine spiritual master, his only concern is how to deliver the living entities, how to take them back to spiritual world. That is the only concern. He is not interested with any of the mundane affairs. He is always in a transcendental position. This is the exalted position of a guru. And this is what Prabhupada is trying to tell us. Guru's position is not ordinary. He is not an ordinary person. That's why you should not be jealous. Oh, Guru has become very famous. Or generally people in the material world are very envious, jealous. Prabhupada had to face many such occasions. Right? When Prabhupada was received in a very gorgeous, cars in the Western countries, the reporters would often comment, "Oh, why are you using this very gorgeous car like this, like this?" Prabhupada said, "See, these all different, disciples of mine offer it. So I'm using it. In fact, we are supposed to be disciples only giving this much. They're supposed to give much more, because Guru is considered to be representative of God. Because people are of envious nature. They don't understand all these things. They start commenting on various aspects like this because they don't have proper understanding. Guru's honor should be as good as God. That's the point. So Prabhupada is clarifying very nicely in this particular statement that Guru is not interested with meddling with material affairs. In fact, he has come here to only deliver the living entities. He appears before us to reveal the light of the Vedas and to bestow upon us the blessings of full-fledged freedom, after which we should hanker at every step of our life's journey. Next, Prabhupada is telling, why does Guru appear? He appears before us to reveal the light of the Vedas. Means the Vedic knowledge. In order to give us this understanding, he has appeared. So that, we understand that we are not conditioned in the material world, like how we are right now, so much conditioned. The body is a conditioning. Different activities we are doing is conditioned. Whereas we have a full-fledged, free life in the spiritual world to serve Krishna. Right? So this is what the spiritual master is trying to give us, this understanding. Why should you be conditioned? Once this body is over, you will again take one more body, one more condition. Like this conditioned life is going on. It's called Nitya Baddha Jivana. So, spiritual master is trying to help us to understand that we are not supposed to live a conditioned life like this. We are supposed to have a Nitya Mukta Jivana, a liberated life, which is full of spiritual freedom. So Prabhupada explains about the discipline succession very nicely further. What is the position of bona fide spiritual master? He says, the transcendental knowledge of the Vedas was first uttered by God to Brahma, the creator of this particular universe. This point, this fact, Krishna himself reveals in the Bhagavad Gita. He says to Arjuna that imam vivasvate yogam proktavanaham avyayam. Arjuna, I spoke this transcendental knowledge, science of this bhakti yoga, many millions of years ago to Vivaswan. Present sun god name is called Vivaswan. Just like every country has a president, prime minister, but the specific names may be different. President, prime minister is a common designation. So the present sun god in sun planet is called Vivaswan. So Krishna says that I spoke this knowledge to sun god. Sun god spoke to his son Manu. Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku. Like this, the whole knowledge has been prevalent in the entire society, entire human society. So, like this, Krishna says that the royal families used to receive this knowledge. The royal paramparas used to receive this knowledge because they are the administrators. They can impart this knowledge to everybody, each and every living entity. Very easily they can impart this knowledge. So in that way, Krishna says this knowledge was imparted to sun god earlier, and further through various other means, this knowledge also was imparted by Lord Krishna directly to Brahma, and from Brahma the knowledge came down to Narada Muni. Brahma spoke to his son Narada Muni, and further from Narada Muni gave his the knowledge was transferred to his disciple by name Vyasadeva. Like this, Vyasadeva, it came to Madhvacharya. It's called parampara, guru, disciple, succession, disciplic succession. Krishna to Brahma, Brahma to Narada, Narada to Vyasa, Vyasadeva to Madhvacharya, and Madhvacharya further, Prabhupada explains, in this process of disciplic succession, the transcendental knowledge was transmitted by one disciple to another till it reached Lord Gauranga, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who posed as the disciple and successor of Sri Ishwarapuri. Krishna also, when he comes down in various incarnations, he also accepts a spiritual master. Just to teach everybody that accepting spiritual master is very important. He himself is a spiritual master, but he follows the norms of the world, so that nobody will violate the norms of the world that way. So further, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's direct disciples are the 6 Goswamis. Prabhupada says, our Acharya, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, is the 10th disciplic representative from Sri Rupa Goswami, the original representative of Lord Chaitanya, who preached this transcendental tradition in its fullness. So amongst the 6 Goswamis, Rupa Goswami is considered to be the chief, and he and all the Goswamis were specifically given the responsibility to be in Vrindavan and in fact excavate the lost holy places and preach the message of Lord Krishna by writing various books, right? So Rupa Goswami and these 6 Goswamis are the direct representatives or original disciples of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada says further, the knowledge that we receive from our Gurudeva is not different from that imparted by God himself, and the succession of the Acharyas in the preceptorial line of Brahma. A very important understanding we should have. Whatever Prabhupada is giving us knowledge, whatever Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj is giving us knowledge, and whatever previous Acharyas are giving, Goswamis are giving, Krishna is giving, is all the same knowledge. From Krishna to Brahma, all that knowledge is coming in a succession. That is called Guru Parampara. So which means The knowledge is the same knowledge, absolute knowledge. There is no change in the understanding. That's why it's called Guru Parampara. Okay, the next we will. Similarly, we adore this auspicious day because Prabhupada was, attending the appearance day of his spiritual master. This appearance day of spiritual master is called Vyasa Puja, right? So we adore this auspicious day as Shri Vyasa Puja Tithi because the Acharya is the living representative of Vyasadeva, the divine compiler of the Vedas, the Puranas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Mahabharata, and the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? So Vyasadeva is the one of the acharyas in the parampara. He is actually the compiler of various Vedic literatures, the Veda, Puranas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Bhagavata, all these various literatures. Vyasadeva compiled means basically whatever was earlier heard as Shruti, Vyasadeva put it in writing for our benefit in Kali Yuga. Because in Kali Yuga, we can't remember anything. We have very short memory. So Vyasadeva put everything in writing for our benefit. So now all the scriptures, what we have now, is so wonderfully beneficial for us. So for that reason, the appearance day, the birth anniversary of spiritual master, Acharya, is called Vyasa Puja. Why? Because the Acharya is considered to be the living representative of Vyasadeva. Right? So just like in Prabhupada's appearance day also, which happens mostly, Tithi comes next day of Janmashtami. We celebrate it as Vyasa Puja day of Prabhupada. Why Vyasa Puja? Because Acharya is the living representative of Vyasadeva. Right? That's how it is celebrated as Vyasa Puja Tithi. Right? So like this, Prabhupada further goes on with the understanding of, with further glorification of his Guru Maharaj and trying to make us understand the true position. So in today's session, we understood that spiritual master's position is very exalted. Anybody and everybody cannot claim that I'm a spiritual master. Spiritual master means he is an associate of Lord Krishna, directly descending from spiritual world to give us the most confidential understanding of Krishna, Krishna's abode, our situation, and he has come just to deliver us, nothing else. And his position is so exalted that Krishna himself speaks in Bhagavata that the Acharya is as good as I am. Krishna says, it's like me only. He should be worshipped like me, should not be envious of the Acharya. And he is the sum total of all devatas, all demigods. Very important aspect. Right? So Prabhupada so nicely understood the whole essence of what an Acharya is, spiritual master's position is. Actually, when we know details about the greatness of a specific personality, our respect, our honor, everything goes up. Right? So we can see from this, this particular session, how Prabhupada was so knowledgeable, so much immersed in the Vedic understanding. For this reason only, the very first meeting, Prabhupada was ordered by his spiritual master that why don't you preach this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna, to English-speaking people. Prabhupada's ability to present the whole message of Vedic understanding in English language was so wonderful. In fact, Prabhupada further towards the, when his spiritual master's last final days, Prabhupada wrote a letter. I am actually a grihastha, householder. I'm not a sannyasi like, so many of your wonderful disciples. They're all doing very great services. So is there any specific service I can do for you? He asked, Prabhupada asked in a letter. So for him, the reply came to him, you preach the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the English-speaking world. Same thing what Prabhupada had got instruction almost 15 years back in 1922. Same thing was repeated in the year 1936 towards end December. Okay. So, further it was instructed that whatever you do like this preaching, it will benefit you and to the entire world. Right. So like this, Prabhupada got the same instruction again and again with regard to preaching the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Krishna to the entire world in the English language. That is the reason Prabhupada was, endeavoring his whole life how to carry on this mission. Right? So that is what we can see in Prabhupada's, life. How he wanted to just follow the instruction. Prabhupada says, I have a firm faith in the words of my spiritual master. I just want to carry out the message of my spiritual master, the instruction of my spiritual master. That's all. I don't have any qualification. I am not an extraordinary person. I'm not very expert in anything. I don't have any qualification as such. But my only qualification is I have firm faith. Very important aspect in Prabhupada's personality. This firm faith in the Acharya's words, his instructions is what is going to take us further in our spiritual life. So we'll continue our discussions further in our next sessions about the same topic. It's a very philosophical and very important topic for all of us to understand about the position of spiritual master. So with this, we conclude today's session. We'll again, continue in our next sessions. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare